The session is being audio recorded. Please be advised that today we're also recording the video proceedings. We will not use the chat feature in this meeting. To ensure sound quality, the default rule for this meeting is that everyone will remain on mute. Commissioners and staff will generally remain on mute except when speaking or voting. This meeting is open to the public, but is not a public hearing. Therefore, no members of the public may speak unless specifically invited to do so. If a member of the public creates an audio or video disruption, they may be manually ejected from the meeting upon recommendation of staff or the chair. We appreciate your attendance. Should you have any questions about the process, you may call our staff at 860-444-5813 after the meeting has ended.
Point of order.
Yes.
Chairman Muckle. We have one person that's not identified, AML.
I was just going to go through that process, Katrina. Thank you.
Hi, this is Dave Turner, and my computer is AML. I'm also doing audio on my phone, David. I believe it's David's iPhone.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Mr. Floric, I believe you're a participant later on. Mr. Floric?
Just unmute myself. Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Mr. Cooley? We can hear the audio, but it's garbled. Oh, the audio is all garbled, so. Ms. Sapinski, I think you're with the condos, right?
Yes, correct.
Geneva, we know. Grace Kine, would you identify yourself?
Hi, Grace Kine, 18 Dimmock. I've also got Bob Kine with me.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Appointment of alternates. Julie, would you sit for the vacancy?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 on the agenda, approval of the April 22nd meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the April meeting minutes, Geneva.
Thank you, Geneva. Is there a second, please?
Second, Wade Thomas.
Thanks, Wade. Any discussion, comments, or changes, corrections?
Julie Wainscott here, Mr.
Julie.
Chairman. On just a typo on the under section 5 under violations. That should be April 30th, not 31st.
Any other comments or corrections? All those in favor to approve with the noted corrections, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions?
I abstain.
Thank you, Tally. Item number 3, application review C21-02, 1000 Hartford Turnpike Drainage Outlet Swale Extension, Department of Public Works applicant, Anchor Engineering agent, review of the draft permit. Questions or comments?
Seems pretty straightforward, I think.
Thank you, Wade. Any other comments? Questions? Hearing none, I guess we're ready for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the draft as written. Wade Thomas.
Thank
I
you.
second it, Jessica Patterson.
Thank you, Jessica. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. New applications C-21-03, 18 Dimmock Road, residential addition and septic installation. Robert and Grace Kine, owner and applicant, DLC Engineering Services, LLC, agent. Questions, comments?
Okay.
So this is Brian Floric Surveying LLC. I can speak to that, to introduce the project to the commissioner and commission. Well, like I said, I'm representing Grace and Robert Kine, 18 Dimmock Road, along with Dave Cooley, DLC Engineering Services LLC. Robert and Grace want to install a new septic system in the rear of their property and put an addition on to their home. The addition and the new septic system will be within the 50-foot buffer area. Septic system, which Dave can certainly expound upon better than I can, is antiquated. It needs to be upgraded. It's a little bit of a proactive fix. Ledgely Health District will not allow them to put the septic system in the front yard. They only want it in the rear. If you would, I included pictures of Grace and Robert's yard. It's been a lawn for more than 30 years. Thank you, Katrina. And you can see the wetlands there to the right. That portion of the wetlands is not a high functioning wetland. And they've been mowing, it's been a yard for 40 years, maybe longer. So with lawn yard. So that's kind of the project and what we're attempting to accomplish here. I don't know if Dave, you want to speak a little bit more about the septic system?
I'll try. How's my audio now?
Good, that's better.
Okay, well, good evening all. So I was hired to do a septic site investigation, first evaluating the existing system, which not much is known about. Judging by the as-built that we do have, I can say with a good bit of confidence that it doesn't meet current codes, but is quite old as well. So we started looking at the rest of the property for code compliant areas. And the biggest challenge and hurdle from looking at the front yard is the maximum leaching system spread requirements for septic systems these days. With the slope of the land, the perk rate, and the flow factor size of the house, which is not increasing. The primary house is not increasing bedrooms, so that does help. But with the contours, we just could not fit the spread in the front yard without infringing upon the property line, the house, the road, and so forth. Plus getting closer to the wetland area. So the area of investigation was focused on the backyard, following the contours, and maximizing the spread of the system, and keeping it 25 feet away from the wetland line, which is allowable for lots prior to 1983 in the septic system code. Normally it would be 50 feet, much like the wetland buffer, but the lot was established well before 1983. So Ledgelight was accepting of the 25-foot separation distance. So Ledgelight has reviewed the septic system, granted it a conditional approval. The conditions were to draw in the water service line from the street. The home is served by Waterford, New London water system, and to dial in the slopes on the building sewer lines as it was designed. So we're looking good in terms of getting an approval from Ledgelight on the septic system. But of course, there's other regulatory processes to follow, and here we are tonight. So I can field any questions along with Brian. I'd be happy to answer them.
Yes, Dave, I was looking at the plan and I'm looking at between, looks like wetland flag 6 and 7. There's a line going up to this existing leaching system. Was that just a line for the 50-foot setback, or is there a pipe coming out of there that's going into the wetlands?
I can assure you that there's no pipes coming out of the septic system and going to the wetlands.
Okay, it just it ends right at the leaching system and ends at the wet, and connects to the wetlands. I was just kind of curious.
Which flags were those that you were citing?
6 and 7.
6 and 7.
Right there. In that area there, then that line connects to the leaching system dashed lines, and I thought maybe it was a pipe. It looked, just kind of curious the way it ends at the leaching system footprint.
It kind of goes right through wetland flag number 7.
Yeah, 6 and 7, and it goes almost due north, just east and north to the leaching structures. That I'm assuming that's dashed lines, so existing leaching structures or system.
The dashed, yes.
Yes.
That
So
line,
to me, it looked like a line, some sort of pipe or something.
that line is a setback, I believe, from surface water. Is that
Okay,
right, Brian?
yeah, that's fine. I thought it could have been that, but it's just kind of odd the way it ended right at the leaching system. And I just had to ask the question. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? So Maureen, this application is just going to be accepted tonight? There's no further action?
Yeah, it's set for acceptance. I've had some preliminary discussions with Mr. Floric about it and the owner. And the fact is that although it's existing land, a lawn in an existing house, it still involves regulated activity, that excavation, construction. It is a much more revised system than the old one. And it is a little farther back, which is nice. And we understand the restrictions of the existing lot. And I think it's pretty straightforward if anyone wants to ride by and have a look at it. But the application is complete.
We don't need a motion to accept that, right, Maureen?
No, it's
Okay.
been accepted and the fee has been paid.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments before we leave C21-03?
Yeah, if I could just, one more question, if I could, Wade Thomas.
Yeah.
The geomatrix, that's proposed to be used. I know it, it's code compliant and everything, but there's not a lot of storage in the units. I don't know if, you're going to have large flows on occasion or that sort of thing. That's the only downside of the units. They're very dense, they're just filled with fine aggregate and the stone. And I was just, wondering, was it chosen because it has a large ELA per lineal foot?
Yes, it has a high credit for surface area in the accordion type arrangement that it's installed. It does not provide the volume of storage as a infiltrator would.
Right. Yes.
But, it's the surface area that gives it the credit. So, I think that the peak flows ideally are handled by the septic tank. it has the credit it has. I
Yeah.
didn't establish the credits, but
Understood.
it is a nice system in a existing lot, and a stable one as well, without having any volume
Yep.
space within it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Mr. Lirish?
Dave Lurch, I was just curious, and maybe this was in the application, I missed it. Are we dealing with a situation here where it's kind of an emergency, where you have sewage backing up into the house that we need to work to move this along quickly? Or?
No, sir. It's not an emergency situation. The existing system is not in failure. It has been inspected. And inspecting a septic system is really looking into the septic tank. But at least they know where the septic tank is. But it is in a bit of a low-lying area, and is close to that little triangle inlet, if you will, into the property, the wetland flags there. So it certainly is closer to the wetland than the proposed system, but it's not an emergency situation.
Oh, okay.
We just don't want to get there.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious what prompted this this upgrade. Yeah. Just
I think it was concern over the age of the system and the unknown condition of the leaching system.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can tell you, in my house, when the system seemed to be working, but then the everything after the tank was collapsed. So I mean, it was probably not functioning properly. But of course, we're hooked up to sewer now. That's just, I was just curious to know what what prompted all that. Maureen, do you have any other trip? I'm just asking the commission all, is there any desire to go out there? Is there any reason why we couldn't move on a draft of permit approval tonight? I mean, is just for discussion purposes, does anyone want to go out and look at it, or, can we move? Is there?
Well, we just received it tonight. We can't move on it until the next meeting.
Can't. Well, okay.
I'd be happy to draft up some considerations for the commission in the next meeting if you'd like.
I would be in favor of that. I mean, this is a very routine issue. There's no emergency as far as the functionality of the system is concerned, the current system. So, Maureen, if you don't have any objection to expedite the matter for the homeowner, I think that might be a good idea.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, Julie Wainscott, I have one question. So are you decommissioning that old system then when you put the new one in?
Yes. I mean, decommissioned, I mean, it'll be abandoned, and the septic tank will have to be either crushed or removed.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? So, Maureen, it seems to be the feeling of the commission. Seems to be the feeling of the commission that we can move ahead with this so that possibly we can minimize the action time. Any other questions on item number 4? C21-3. Moving on to C4 198 Shore Road. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. C21-4 198 Shore Road, stream channel stabilization. John Lombardi, applicant. Jay Thoreau, agent. Questions, comments? This is another one that we've just received. Maureen, I think you've had a chance to do a preliminary review of this. Is that correct?
little ahead of me, Chair. Hang on a second. Okay, bring up the site now. I prepared at least some mapping. I think Mr. Thoreau is here, the agent for the applicant. Joe, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so anyway, I just gave the commission a location map. Come on with this, so they know where they are, just so they know where they are on this one. Yeah, so on the Shore Road side down to the west of the, hang on, I gotta steer here. So just to the west of the golf course, where Anita comes out, this channel comes down through here. It's a town culvert right here. There's a pre-cut channel here to the house where Mr. Lombardi, the applicant, lives right up in here. So just to get you oriented, this application was received. It is complete. The fee was paid. And Mr. Thoreau hopefully will take you through the desire of the applicant to stabilize the channel and do some planting. Yeah, go ahead, Joe. I'm bringing up the plan.
Okay, have the commission members had a chance to review the documentation that I provided, or?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't want to have to try to
Yes.
reiterate my entire dissertation there, but what Mr. Lombardi is looking to do is, basically you have two sides here. We have the north and the southern sides of the water course. And what Mr. Lombardi would like to do is try to reclaim both sides of the site, which are right now they're heavily vegetated by invasives. We have bittersweet, mile-a-minute vine, multiflora rose, there are phragmites, along the edges of the stream. And what they would like to do is try to reclaim them and make them more ornamental. So on the north side, what they're looking to do is reconstruct an existing stone wall that you can see on the plan there. Blend it into the slope with a little bit of grading. They want to reestablish the vegetation along the northern side of the slope with pachysandra and miscellaneous ornamental plantings. But the big thing is down alongside the stream channel and in a small portion of the wetlands, they want to establish some riprap in there to try to stabilize the slope, support the grading that's going to be occurring to the south of the proposed wall, and again, just stabilize the edges of the stream bank, which are eroding. And I think I provided some pictures for you guys. Due to the vegetation, it was real hard to get a lot of good photos showing the stream banks or the slopes, but you can kind of see what they're dealing with there. You can see some grapevines, that are growing. On the southern side of the stream bank, what they're proposing to do is the same thing, provide a little bit of riprap along the edges of the stream banks, again, just to stabilize and hopefully slow some of the flows down along the edges of the stream bank to stop the heavy erosion that's going on. They're also proposing a riparian zone with plantings of warm summer grasses and miscellaneous shrubs. And then the far south, where you see the temporary construction entrance, they want to do some raised planting beds with miscellaneous plantings there.
Any questions or comments?
Sorry, but that was.
Yeah, where is the transition? This is Wade Thomas. Where's the transition from tidal wetlands to freshwater wetlands?
Approximately, if you go back to the site plan, I would say the transition is somewhere. If you look on the southern side, there's a large rock denoted, a boulder denoted right around wetland flag 13A. Somewhere between 13A And wetland flag, I would have to say 13 is probably somewhere in there is your transition. Right where wetland flag 17 is, that I can see signs where the high tide backs up, and that's pretty much kind of where it is, but I can't guarantee that. I haven't actually been there during a full high tide to see where it inundates to. But that's my best answer. I would say probably somewhere between 13A and 17-ish.
So wouldn't DEP have jurisdiction to that point? I mean, does this have to go to DEP as well?
I don't feel we're filling anything. I don't feel we're filling anything in tidal wetlands. On the northern side, the riprap is not proposed within the wetland channel. It's proposed along the bank. So we're not doing any. We're not proposing any direct filling in that. We're not reducing any flood zone capacity or anything like that.
But you are impacting like square feet. It looks like a fair amount of square feet.
The square footage of disturbance, basically our initial plan was to fill more on the northern side than what we proposed. But try to reduce the square footage. What we did is we absolutely dropped the amount of filling that was going to occur on the northern side just to where below the stone wall is proposed, to shore up that bank and prevent erosion there and support the proposed grading. So the bulk of the fill, quote unquote, is actually occurring on the southern side along the southern edge of the brook.
What's the volume, approximate volume of riprap that's going to be placed?
I do not have a cubic volume for that. All I have is a square footage of of the actual area that they're impacting on the wetlands, and that is that looks like that's listed at 1,060. And again, the bulk of that is on the southern side and below. Kind of like where wetland flags 3 through 6 are. There's kind of a low spot where flows over the years have come shooting out of that culvert pipe under the road and shot into the bank there and kind of eroded that spot.
All right, thank you.
Interesting. Yeah, Dave Lurch here. I was kind of curious. What's the oil containment boom in there for? Is that the state?
I don't know about that. I kind of scuttlebutt is that there was some sort of an oil spill upstream somewhere, and that oil boom was to try to trap anything that was coming downstream, which I thought was kind of a joke because it doesn't look like it was catching anything. It doesn't look like it was maintained or set up the way it should have been.
Oh,
but I don't know. Maybe Maureen knows more about that than I do. I have no idea.
Interesting. Maureen, do you know anything about that?
I know that there was a report of oil in the water from DEP. That's what you're talking about right there.
Yeah.
And if I can just find the map again, yeah, I believe it was from up here, an above ground tank had a leak in the hose, I think. And again, this is just hearsay. So but it followed their irrigation system trench and got into the drainage system. This was I have to do some research. Again, we just received this. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah, but I'm not sure who deployed it, if it was part of the DEP's required response team, or if that was the fire department just being cautious. I have no idea, but certainly we're going to look into it.
Oh, sure. No. Well, it's interesting. I didn't see any absorbent material down there, and I doubt somebody's running a vac truck. So who knows what's going on?
Any other
I
questions?
would like to take a look at this site, though.
Staff has a couple of questions just to get a better ascertainment of the amount of disturbance on these embankments. Joe, how and where is it anticipated that riprap will be laid?
Sorry, say that one more time.
How will you get a machine in here and lay this riprap?
Well, the on the northern side, they're basically they're going to come in from the top of the slope.
So
from
all the
some-
clearing limits, this will all be cleared too in order to reach this?
Right, yeah. If you look at where
not
the kind of where the stone wall is proposed there, that's kind of the limit of somewhere in there is where all the invasives are growing. So yeah, they have obviously from the north side, they have to work from the top of the slope down. On the southern side, the topography is much more, you can see it's much more flatter. So yeah, they can move in, from the southern side, but they're not going to need to cross the stream in any way, shape, or
Right.
form.
I just from some of the photos that are here, it's actually that embankment is treed. So I'm curious if the extent of beautification is going to require all these trees to be taken down, and this is going to become what?
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not proposing to taking down any of the trees on the northern side at all.
But
They
they're
got,
going to
they
be
got
bringing.
plenty of room. They got plenty of room to move around. This, what you're pointing at right there is a dead limb falling down. But no,
I'm just looking at the slope here. They got to get up and down here with a loader and bring riprap down. Here's the wetland flag right here.
Yep.
So it's really, I'm just trying to get an ascertain how much of this embankment along this wetland is going to actually be disturbed, even if it's temporary, to place this. So that would be helpful to have that information as well.
Yeah, well, like I said, I know they're going to have to be on that slope with an excavator. Once they get down there that steep slope, they're going to be undoubtedly they're going to be placing some of that riprap by hand because it's a steep slope and they're not you can only get down there so far with a machine. So
yeah, it would be helpful to know the size of the riprap and the kind of equipment.
Yeah, it's going to be intermediate riprap, which is going to be anywhere from 6 to 8 to 10 inches in size. That's the that's what you need on that side and that kind of site. Anything smaller would probably wash away. That brook has a lot of velocity to it. If you look at the stream banks on the sides there, you can see how bad it's undercutting in a lot of places, and you can see the size of the rocks that are actually left in place. Yeah, right there. There you go. That's a good spot right there. You can see the size of the rocks that are tumbled down. That's about the size of the riprap that needs to be in place because obviously those are not washing away. So if you were to try to put 2-3 inch stone in there, that stuff would just get carried away.
No, I'm just
That
asking.
slope, that slope you're looking at right there is probably anywhere between a 2-to-1 to a 3-to-1 slope.
The plan says modified, and you said the sizes you said are probably more like a modified, not intermediate, correct?
Modified, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not a gravel guy, so I don't.
All right,
know.
I just wanted to make sure, just for clarity. Thank you.
Yeah. So we're trying for anywhere between 6, 8, and 10 inch material.
Any other questions?
So
No?
basically, that excavator's gonna be going up and down the slope, getting the riprap, tracking back down, placing it, going back up. I mean, we're talking tens of trips on each side, correct?
Undoubtedly, yep. And that's why they're proposing the E&S measures, temporarily. And again, we're looking at if needed, they're willing to put a jute netting or erosion control netting there to stop that from eroding more.
Did you consider like a core log or anything like that in
Um,
lieu of riprap? And plant behind it, how you can stake it and put plantings in?
Yeah, I did actually, but that's not going to fix the problem. What we have here is we have a stream channel that's receiving a lot of storm water. It's not just it's not just an intermittent water course that's flowing through the woods or whatever. This thing's getting a lot of storm drainage as well. And, to be honest with you, if I wanted a slam dunk, yeah, you can do it type application, I wouldn't even bother proposing riprap along this. We would just let this thing keep eroding as it's been doing forever. What we're proposing here is try to fix this and allow it to stay put. When you guys do the site walk, which I hope you do, you're going to see that bank on that side there, it's undercutting quite a bit. I mean, we're looking at a foot or 2 feet that bank is undercutting. So, to propose nothing there and just plant Pachysandra and have landscaping would be nice. But what we're trying to do here is actually fix something here and, stop these, the velocities along the edge to try to sustain the slope that's there.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thanks very much. Maureen, we're just going to receive this application tonight, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Do you guys want to set a site walk for this, or?
We usually work through the through staff for that.
Okay.
But yes, it's something that I certainly would want to take a look at. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 5, violations, 54 Rope Ferry Road, unauthorized clearing of vegetation and soil grading within and adjacent to intermittent water course at Rope Ferry condominiums, wetland restoration plan. Maureen, can you get us started on this?
Yeah, I believe Mr. Dave Turner is here to take you through his proposed plan.
Okay.
I am. Hi, Dave Turner. I'm an environmental consultant. I'm representing Rope Ferry condos on the NOV they received. And we submitted recently this restoration plan to try to stabilize the area that was disturbed back in February. And briefly, there was an area about 200 feet long on the eastern side of the pond on Rope Ferry condominiums that was cleared of most of the vegetation that was there. And the channel was disturbed and wound up running right along the eastern bank of the pond. And the absence of vegetation led to some pretty steep cuts at the beginning, at the most northern portion of the ponds. So initially, some immediate actions were taken. The area was seeded, some jute matting was put down, and a straw wattle was put down at the top of the slope to stabilize it back around Easter. A lot of the grass has been growing. This plan is to try to address where the stream channel comes out and goes into the pond, and then to stabilize the edges of the pond where the vegetation was removed. So you can see in this photo some of the work that was done. A culvert comes under Rope Ferry Road. It's got
Hang
a
on,
pretty.
Dave, let me find it. I'm trying to follow you. There you go. So Rope Ferry's up here.
So a stream comes through a concrete culvert, and there's a very brief, steep section. We are proposing putting some riprap along the steep section to stabilize the stream channel and to direct it from the eastern bank to a more centralized location coming into the pond. Where water hits the pond and we reach kind of a stable level, there's a channel that's about 4 feet wide. And we want to kind of redirect the channel toward the middle of that 4-foot section as opposed to the far eastern side. And then there are currently some pretty steep banks on both sides of this, and we want to kind of redistribute the soil to lessen the steep bank on the eastern side, as well as the western side. The western side is kind of an emergent vegetation wetland. And then we would, so the hardscape is for where it's steep grade. And then on the, as we reach the pond itself, we do a softscape. We're proposing planting sedges along both banks to try to keep further erosion from occurring and winding up into ponds.
Just gonna take you to the cross section, Dave.
All right. So yeah, thank you. So the solid line is the condition that exists now. So on both the east and west sides, there's some pretty steep, there's some almost vertical portions of soil there as a result of removal of vegetation. What we want to do is take some of the organic soils on the west, which is this emergent vegetation deposition, and for lack of a better term, smear it along the eastern side. The eastern side is now very sandy and gravelly, and it probably wouldn't support the vegetation we're proposing. So we'll use the organic soil on the western side, put it on the eastern side to reduce the grade so it's not so steep, and then stabilize that with plantings. So
do you think that's better than bringing in soil so you're not excavating out? You know, like how much in the emergent area are you going to be excavating to smear on the east side?
So I can't tell you the exact volume, but what happened is when the work was done, an excavator was used and it pushed soil from the bottom, or muck from the bottom of this pond to the west. So right now there's a little mound of soil, and the whole idea is to realign the channel by moving it about 2 feet further west. So we have to excavate soil from the western side to kind of get the channel away from the eastern side. And that soil will then be reused on the eastern side to provide a better substrate for the plantings we're proposing.
You anticipate that excavator will be on the west side and just casting it over the water and laying it on the east, and it'll be manually spread? Is that what you have in mind?
Yes, and actually we want to come down on that emergent vegetation and use either mats or 2x12s or something. So it's going to be a little mini excavator that would do all the work from the western side. Now the eastern side, which has got a steeper slope, has been largely restored by planting grass already. And working from that side would just totally destroy the stabilization we've already done.
All right, thank you.
Let me just help so the commission knows this is the area Mr. Turner's talking about to bring in small excavator, taking this cut channel from the violation right in here, along here, a little farther down, moving this cut 2 or 4 feet over this way, taking that material, which currently has a lot of emergent vegetation in it as well, and lessening the cut on this side. The core log here is nice because if they need to, they can just drop it down. Maybe I do, hang on a second. Let me just see if with this one I have the original. Oops, no. Now I'm in trouble. I did something. Katrina's gonna have to fix it. Do I have the original? No. Shoot. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I thought I had it lined up, but I don't. Sorry. But I think some of these photos gives you a good idea, especially here where you can see. This isn't so bad. They're gonna be thinking rip wrap up in here. But when it starts getting really steep in here, this is all just accumulated sediment. Dave's been calling a pond over the years. It's really become an emergent marsh. And so in bringing this over, a small excavator can easily do that. I'm just trying to blow some up so everyone has a chance. You can go right in there and have a look at it too. Dave, one of the things I wanted just to illuminate the commission where, I know this is scalable, this map. So right now the channel is right about here. It's not this wide. So when we push the channel over to here, what is the intent of all this material in here?
So right now where the riprap currently ends, and it's sporadic,
Right.
it comes out and the stream comes out right on the furthest eastern bank.
Right, I'm tracing it, yep.
Correct. And what has happened is it's very steep and it's starting to undercut that bank. The whole idea of extending the riprap is to get the rest of that stream slope, to get it down to where standing water will be, and to move it so it's not directing water directly against that eastern bank.
Correct. I'm talking in here. This, I don't have, we're blowing it up for visual purposes. Is the plan also to propose to excavate even more width of the channel, or just move the channel over?
No, it is literally to move it over approximately 2 feet west by taking sediment from the west side and putting it on the east side. And that will help buffer the eastern bank with the soil and the plantings from further erosion.
Okay, thank you.
Are you pretty comfortable with this proposal, Maureen?
I've worked back and forth with Mr. Turner on getting enough information so the commission can get a handle on what they're trying to do. This original channel that was dug was a source of the violation. So the point is just to try to, if I can, get rid of the potential erosion and of course the re-occlusion of the channel, bring it over a little more by using the material that's already in there and rework. I asked, and of course, all of this, if the commission accepts it, we'll bring it under a permanent application for corrective action. And I'll be working with Mr. Turner on getting the numbers, correct for that. But they didn't want to do that until they had some feedback from the commission if this is enough to correct the violation, but also realign the channel more likely where it should be, and to restore the channel banks with vegetation.
So generally, you're okay with what's proposed, is what I'm gathering.
When it's all done, I will be. Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
No, sounds like a reasonable corrective action to me.
So are we prepared tonight with the information provided, or you haven't had a chance to read it all through? At least to accept the plan and ask for a permit, just to document it, because I know they want to get going.
I think we're at that point. How do the other commissioners feel?
I'm
I
pretty
agree.
comfortable. I'd make a motion to go to draft. Wade Thomas.
I second it.
Draft or to accept the restoration plan?
Accept the restoration plan. I'm sorry.
Julie Wayne Scott, second.
Okay, thank you. Motion is
Here's
made
the-
and
Here's
seconded.
the estimate, you guys, just in case you didn't have a chance to read it. So the original disturbance was about 1,400. The total area about 2,100. It's all temporary.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to accept the plan. Any other discussion or comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Item number 6, other business.
Yeah, I have one other business. Sorry, I'm kneeling and trying to do it. No, it's okay. So this is other business really under your conservation hat business. In 2006, the town worked with DEP, Save the Sound, and a couple other entities to build the Jordan Brook fish ladder. I don't know if you're all aware of it. There's Great Neck, Jordan Terrace. Here's the Mill Pond Dam, Mill Lane. Here's the
Park, isn't it?
daycare and Jordan Firehouse. Here was in 2015 operational. And it put in, here's the outlet. This is controls it, shoots the water through. And it was a big to-do. I put this in so I don't not mention everybody, but EPA was involved, DEP, the town of Waterford, Fund for the Environment, and Save the Sound. I wish we had a bigger screen. Wait till next time when we can use the big screen. So this is for alewife and herring. These are what they call anadromous fish. Big word. Most of their life is spent in the ocean, but they spawn in fresh water. So all as part of this area, there's now a fish canner in here. We don't have anywhere near the runs that they do in East Lyme, Bride Brook, but it's not bad, and it's all helping to restore the ecology of Jordan Brook. They don't just spawn in the pond, but they go up to, up into our brook. This sign's there if you ever want to read about it, and it's in your stuff so you can look at it. But we worked really hard on this, and then one of our trees fell on it just last year. This is after the boys removed the pine. The white pine broke off about 40 feet up in the air and tortured it. It ripped it out of the dam up top. Remember, these are my pictures. They're not the best. Ripped, Katrina's laughing. So they ripped it out of the dam up top. Nothing happened with where it sits in the rest passage. But you can see up in here, it just got even though it was a white pine, thank God it wasn't an oak, but it just twisted it right out. So DEP has shut it down. They don't want to run it because with the twist in the fishway, the waters won't be just right, and it's not going to help them get up. So here's a look going down. You can see how she got whacked pretty good. So along comes Long Island Sound's Future Fund, request for proposals due soon. Been working with DEP personnel and to apply to get monies to replace or help to replace the fish passage. It's part of it. The program priorities, I'm not trying to bore you, and you have it all in your stuff, but some of the stuff they really go for is clean waters and healthy watersheds and habitats and wildlife. So restoring habitat. We got some of the money before, wasn't really through the Long Island Sound Futures Fund, but it's definitely was part of that whole effort along the shoreline. We were even before Bride Brook to try to reintroduce the anadromous fish up into their breeding grounds. So as part of the application that I'm working on with the town attorney and the finance department, everybody else has to be involved. We're really looking for a letter of support, reaching out to the Conservation Commission, reaching out to the Rec and Park Commission. And I know I don't have one drafted for you. I'm just asking for your support. We'll put a letter together and the chair can sign it for the repair and restoration of the fish passage, our continued efforts for the ecological health of Jordan Brook, and to repair the work what we worked so hard on in 2006, 2007.
I don't have a problem endorsing this. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Absolutely, I support it.
I completely support this proposal.
Great.
So, Maureen, Julie Wayne-Scott here.
Hi,
Is
Julie.
this earmarked just for the Jordan Brook, the fish ladder repair?
No, I mean, it's no earmark. It's what we're gonna go after the Long Island Sound Futures Fund for.
Okay.
Yeah,
it'll be one of their-
there's other, I'm sure there's tons of other, I mean, we're gonna be competing, right? So anything we can get for letters of support and documenting what we've done, I mean, this is the sign we've put up there and had up there for the last 12 years. You know, it's owned and maintained by Waterford, operated in partnership with DEP. I wish I had a bigger screen. I'm so sorry, guys. Of course, and I can't see that well, but you know, this is there. So it was all part of, even when we replaced the fish, you know, the walkway over here, like the kids can come down from, well, not just the kids, but come down, or you can come down from the park itself and come across here, and you actually can look right down it. It's kind of neat. I mean, you can't really see the fish jumping. We have some history for the buildings that used to be there, and when the dam was there and when it was built, 1905. So I think it's a real part, culturally important, but you know, I mean, it's really an ecological important part of all our efforts we're trying to do with our riparian habitat, keeping the water quality clean of this like 6.2 mile stream that comes down through, you know, the middle of our town. And unfortunately, at the end of it, one of our darn trees snapped. So I'm hoping, you know, we have a good shot at it, because we do meet, like I said, one of the program priorities. And we're working with DEP guys. They're going to be donating, as part of the match, the pieces to replace it that they have in the yard from ones they've taken down. So we think we have a good shot, but any letter of support will help.
Now, can they also, as part of this, maybe cut down any trees that might pose imminent danger to the fishway, so we don't have to repeat this?
Oh, I'm fairly certain that's going to be in our scope. Yeah.
All right, just,
Yeah. But
Thank you.
That's our stuff. That's on our, you know, on the town.
Yep.
You know, the town's park property. But
Okay,
I just- we're competing with anybody in this watershed.
oh, I know.
Okay, I mean, it's not a slam dunk.
Oh,
but
no.
It's worth a shot.
Okay, thank you.
Maureen, quick question. This is Jessica. If community members or residents of Waterford want to get involved to send along letters of support, is that something that they could do directly through you, or is there a different person on town staff that I should direct them to?
No, it would probably be more with these kinds of grants. I mean, if you're just a community member, sure, the letter is nice, but we're looking for, you know, established entities of the town or the park, because that's who helped put it in the first place and who maintains it. So,
Gotcha.
and there's very little time, clearly, as
Yeah.
always, but we've been working on this more than since this week. It's just, this is one of the last elements we'd like to include in the grant application.
Great job, everybody. Great, like really good job.
We'll see.
So what's the next step, Maureen? You need our
Well,
approval or
I
our
would
go?
just like the action, the commission, that you do endorse this endeavor. You know, it fits inside all the work we've been doing to preserve and enhance the ecological value of Jordan Brook watershed. And it's to repair something that we worked so hard on before. I'll word something. I'll have Rich look at it so that it doesn't sound quite like Maureen, but and I'm sure DEP is going to want to have a couple of things in it too. But if you guys are comfortable letting Rich do that with me, that would be great. I mean, sorry, Mr. Chair, if you're okay with that. Rich? We lost him. Maybe
I'm fine with that. However you want to set it up, I don't think that there'll be any objection from commission, so we'll proceed as you suggest.
So the commit, I just wanted the record to show that the commission endorses this attempt to procure funds to repair and restore.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I don't think anyone will object.
No.
So whenever you're ready, Maureen, let me know and we'll get it on.
Yeah, I'm
the
gonna
road.
go home after tonight though, and then maybe tomorrow. But,
Any other comments,
yeah.
questions, suggestions? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 7. Adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Thank you, Wade. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain? Thank you.
Wait, who seconded?
Oh, thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, Tally.
All right, folks, thanks very much.
Before
Have
you
a
go
close
home,
meeting.
before you guys go home, I mean, I know we've adjourned, but it may very well be we're going live next meeting, okay?